Yeah. So.
You're live.
Okay, Senate Education Committee, back after just a 2 or 3 minute break after listening to a panel of teachers here in Canaan. And we now have half an hour with the school board. And we'll introduce ourselves, and then you can introduce yourselves as well, obviously. I'm Seth Baumgartz. I'm the chair of the Senate Education Committee. I live in Manchester.
Keisha Rum Hinsdale, Senate Education and Senate Economic Development and Senate Majority Leader.
And you live in?
Oh, Chittenden County. I don't want to say that up here. I'm so glad to be with you.
Senator Heffernan, I represent the Addison County District. I live in Bristol, Vermont.
Terry Williams, Rutland District, and this is my second time on the Education Committee for both.
So you probably know that your principal here grew up in the town next to where I live. I knew his father. I know his father. So when I used to sign as principal at Arlington. So kind of fun to be here with so what we're doing with these is the mantra which we're working is providing excellent educational opportunity for every Vermont child. And we're visiting 5 schools, 5 districts. We'd do more if we could, but anyway, we're doing 5 districts that we think are all kind of a little bit different. You're a small district, for instance, small school, and we're going all the way with a lot of things in between to CVU, one of the largest high schools in Vermont. So we're trying to do and get a feel for what you are doing as teachers, school board, principal, community, to provide that excellent educational opportunity for a Vermont child, and the ways that it's being done differently in different settings, those kinds of things. So we're also here just to frankly just be sponges. And we've learned a lot from your kids this morning. That was really fabulous, and a lot from the teachers and the tour with Brian. And so now we want to spend a little bit of time with you and have you share concerns or tell us, we just heard a lot from students and the teachers about the attributes that come from being in a setting like with the small school and tied to the community and all the things that you all know. I don't need to tell you because you do it every day. So we just want to kind of give you the floor. And so introduce yourselves, and I don't have a specific question for you, other than just give us a sense of some of the things you would like us to know that you want to make sure we pick up from you before we leave at the end of the day today.
I think it'd be helpful to clarify if you're Canaan School Board or ENS or NEK.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know I don't know if you want to start on one.
I'll start it off.
Okay. All right.
I'm Miles Etter. I'm the chair for ENSU, and I'm also the chair for Northeast Kingdom Choice.
Okay.
And I'd like to thank you all for coming, and I appreciate that you're trying to get a scope of the variety of Vermont, which is great. I guess I don't know how much you know about Choice, but I'll just go briefly into it. Choice was formed when Act 46 occurred, and we combined with Canaan, as we both were. They were K-12 operational, we were K-12 non-operational, so that was what we ended up joining by. And we've had a good partnership over the years. There's been some ups and downs with different things, but we've done a good job. And with Choice, we've had Choice. I come from Kirby. We've had Choice for a long time. And it's been very beneficial for a variety of educational needs for kids in town. And I think when we joined with the other towns that were non-operational north of us, East Haven came into that, and we have towns all the way up through. It's been a good thing because I think, one, it's given them a good voice, because as an individual small town, smaller number of students, they tended to run into problems and not have much opportunity to deal with those. So when we formed, we ended up being about 300. We've been over 300, just under 300 kids are tuitioned out. And it's given us a good place to operate from for our kids and to represent. And, I think it's been good to be with Canaan. I think we've learned a lot working with them, but I think it's also helped them with, their isolation in some ways, that there's more support to help provide for the administrative costs and things that go along with that. So it's been, I'd say it's been a pretty successful partnership, all in all. I guess the only things I would want to address is that, if things were to shift, quite dramatically, I think there would be a lot of hardship. I know that I heard conversations about this community in Canaan and how they provide for their students. You start moving down the Connecticut River Valley, going down the road there, and you've got a separation from Canaan, you've got a separation from any other schools in that area. So the one thing that's always been pretty important is that we've had the opportunity for those towns to choose to go to a school right across the river, which is 10 miles or less. So that's been an important point that we wanted to try to keep in consideration. That I know in our forum, won't take too much longer. In our forum, we had parents that came that live in Guildhall, which is across from Lancaster, pretty much. They cannot see, if they were to lose that opportunity to go with their children to the schools across the river, they would have an option going to St. Johnsbury or Lindenville or much further north, and their life would be totally changed, totally shifted. So that kind of came up, and I think it's important for us to try to keep that. But anyway,
Sharon Ellenwood, I'm gonna just
go ahead.
briefly touch
I think it's on, but-
my going on, but the having choice in this area is a lifeline for families. Because in a town with nothing, with 87 people in it, with no sidewalks and no businesses or anything, the lifeline is where the jobs are, where the grandparents are, where the daycare is. And I live in the neighboring town to Canaan, and our students choose Canaan 3-1, which speaks to the excellence of this school. The other one, the one in the 3-1, cross the river into New Hampshire because they may live a mile from the school and they don't have buying snow tires. And where the pediatrician is, particularly if there's a health issue, is mandatory for the NEK Choice District. And as Miles said, when we came together in our Act 46 works, we did some fiscal work with ENSU to combine administrative expenses and reduce Canaan's expenses, reduce our expenses by sharing a central office. We did fiscal work and we did equity work, because we took 10 of the most remote, I don't have to tell you what geographic isolation is because you drove it this morning. But we took those towns with no voice, 30 people in a town, and we've got 10 of them together. We've got this really nice voice. And we have, I think that putting those 10 towns together has advocated for neighbors that are in the same shoes. So fiscally and quality wise, we've done great work together. I think I'm so tickled you're here.
So do the kids from Canaan have to come here, or can they go? The kids from Canaan have to come here, all the other kids are from choice. Yeah.
And I'm watching operating and non-operating budgets, and for an operating school to have to cart everything out, I've watched it in this district. It's very difficult, having to cut buses and transportation when health insurance is skyrocketing and the children lose their things. Thank you.
So one more thing.
You were
There was a 3-year project here that tried to start a cooperative to look to form something similar to Orford between the towns on the other side of the river and Canaan. There was actually an exchange, correct me.
That's what I was gonna talk about, so
Go
that's
ahead.
great. No, go ahead.
There's your segue, go.
Because we hear it a lot. So my name is Renee Marchessault and I'm the chair here of the Canaan School Board. One thing we hear a lot, we hear it at the public forum, we hear it every year at town meeting is, as Miles said, we were in the Connecticut River Collaborative, where we were trying to form an interstate school district. They did a lot of work. I was not on that committee, Sharon was, but they put a lot of work in. And during that time, we had the ability to swap students. We were like, so we would send kids across the river and they would take classes there, and same, we're coming here. And when that folded and we found out that that was not something we could be doing, it ended abruptly. And we had a lot of people very upset that we couldn't do that. And we have, what, 3 schools within how many miles of each other?
3 high schools.
3 high schools within how
It's
many?
12 miles
Within 12 miles.
farthest.
2 of them are in New Hampshire, 1 is here. They're all facing, the same challenges, with declining enrollment and, we do swap teachers. We are able to, do a little bit of that, but the kids and the parents really miss being able to do what we were doing as far as taking classes and such.
And that was a
Both-
state statute that Vermont created? Is that what we heard?
We were told, yes.
And does anybody know what that state statute?
I
is?
don't,
It's
I'm sorry.
that funding cannot cross the river if you have an operating. If you have an operating district, I believe that the funding cannot go out of state. And Canaan does have an operating district. When we had an official interstate compact exploratory committee, so we were allowing it to explore it because everybody had an appetite for it. But at this time, SAU 7 in New Hampshire does not have an appetite for an interstate school district.
It's all agreed about.
Who doesn't have an appetite for it?
Is that accurate? Am I?
I think
I don't-
you're
I
right.
don't-
Okay.
It must be moving.
The New Hampshire
Yeah.
district, okay. Okay, only because we have one interstate operating district, the White
We-
River is, oh, okay,
Rivendell, right?
Rivendell.
Thank you.
And Dresden,
And
there are
Dresden.
2.
okay. But so if we allowed for that conversation, you still think New Hampshire isn't coming
I
to the
think-
table?
Knowing that New Hampshire is also exploring consolidating. districts,
Yeah,
That may change.
okay, okay.
And I think regardless what the point, like, we're not, sorry, I'm Raylene Vegan. I am the vice chair for both in school board and ENS board. That statute change allowed us to not share the resources. So even if there wasn't an interstate district and they weren't open to that, I do think they're open to sharing. Like, if there was
Okay.
a change in statute that allowed us to use this community in its entirety, without the river as a barrier, I do think that there's conversations that can be had there, for sure.
And those students are still able to come here. So they are coming here and taking with tuition now, we are charging them tuition. Before that, we were swapping them, without that. But, they are still some coming here, but that is dwindling,
And we do share sports.
Yeah.
We heard a lot about
Yes.
Pittsburgh.
So how many students, I think we heard this morning, how many students come from NEK choice tuition here? And the same from New Hampshire, how many kids tuition?
Those numbers I'm not sure.
I believe there are about 22 that come mainly from Norton, Leamington, Bloomfield, and possibly Brunswick. At times there are Brunswick students. I don't think there are any right now.
So that's like,
And Norton.
that's like 22 out of, I think you said 300,
This
For us, yeah.
22 out of 300 come to Canaan.
300 is the number of the total students in NEK choice.
Yeah. Oh, does that include?
Does not include Canaan.
Yeah,
Canaan
okay,
has how many
okay.
students in their district?
Canaan has
160.
160.
I don't know. 160 and about 20 or
And
anything.
you got some for New Hampshire tuition again?
Yes.
We have,
Another,
probably another 8 to 10.
okay.
Some of those come from Swartztown, but a lot come for the afternoons for the.
So between the two, it's a significant portion of your enrollment tuition's in. Yeah, okay. So when I keep going, good morning, be sure we stay on the clock here.
So I'm Raylene Vegan. I don't necessarily great with the stuff, so I tried to gather my thoughts ahead of time, and I'm just gonna read it.
That's okay.
I'll do my best. I think the essence of like what I'm trying to, or what I would like to say to you guys is, how important it is that whatever methods forward, we're investing in and preserving these educational infrastructures in our rural areas. I think that I have like a personal analogy where, a business partner and I, which is my brother, invested in, a mobile home park in New Hampshire that was set to be abandoned. And 16 families were losing their homes. They had a water system that had never been tested by the state. They had like barely a road through it. And they had been told they had to find a way to move their homes that had sat there for 20, 30, 40 years. And we run into it, not necessarily as a great business opportunity, but because of this sense of community and, it's not just the homes that are there, it's their lives and their histories. And I think that working with that, and it's hours and hours and hours of, you know, I came here this morning from crawling under an elderly disabled couple's home and trying to heat tape their lines for them at no cost because there's no other way to do it. And it's not about just repair, it's, you know, it's their dignity, it's their well-being, and the community's integrity as a whole. And I think that this connects directly to our educational landscape in Vermont, where in rural areas, the schools aren't just a school, it's the heart of the community. And, you know, we have to fear that our school might close or consolidate, or, you know, the penalties that are in place, in theory, to help equalize education, penalize us because we don't have enough students to cover the bare costs, even when our teachers are doing 5 different things and our administration are filling every gap that they can. It's really like a palpable concern. And I think that like our kids learn not just education here, but they learn a lot of other values. Like, I mean, our kids, they do everything. They're doing their sports and their health and well-being, but they're doing community service and they learn resiliency. And so I think as much as, you know, centralizing or things like that can be a big concern for, you know, you think about like the long bus ride that your kid's on, and then they can't do all these other after school activities, but it's more than just that. It's also like an erosion of our community identity and our values and our support networks. I really think that it's important to focus the bigger picture on preserving a lot of those values and really looking at the needs and realities for these small communities as well. And I just think that our investment in this education should really mirror our investments in the communities themselves. Fostering the environments where every kid and family can thrive without fearing community integration. So I am really grateful that you guys are here and hearing everything that we have to say, and our administration earlier and our community after this. But I think that is my contribution. Is I hope that these voices can really be amplified and heard at a bigger level, because what these people have to say are really important.
That was very powerful. I didn't catch your first name.
Raylene, Raelene.
I'm Christy Vegan. I'm Raylene's sister-in-law. It's my first year on the school board, so I've learned a lot. I'm still learning. I don't have much to say, but I can say that us as a community, we come together in every aspect. I mean, you have teachers that our after-school program has been amazingly successful. Our students are loving it. We see more enrollment in that. Our CTE programs are at the best that they can be, given the budget cuts that we've had to do the last couple of years. And when we have to do those based on the funding that we get, because of all these guidelines that we have to follow, our students do suffer. They are not able to have certain things, or they have to go elsewhere to get them. And then we're responsible for that.
So your funding cuts have really come about because of the excess spending threshold?
Some of them, absolutely.
Some of them,
Yeah, absolutely.
and health insurance.
And the health insurance costs,
Okay,
but
yep,
yeah,
okay, yep.
some of them are definitely driven by that.
Yep.
I mean, and it's
it's
a big,
hard.
huge hit. Last year's budget was $200,000.
You had to cut
And
them down.
No, we didn't, that we had to pay in excess because we were over the threshold.
And that was after cutting the budget.
And that was
Cutting the budget.
Okay, yeah,
And that was
okay.
along with cutting the budget, getting it to the
Yeah.
around 5%. I can't remember what the percentage was. We were still $200,000 over the threshold, the point. That's what we had to pay in addition. And that's hard. I mean, you look at what we did cut, who knows what we may have to cut this year just to meet those, to not try to go above what we need to go above. And I think that that's where the biggest struggle is. It's the money. It's being able to give all of these students and this staff a job, a place to have a really great developing community. And by losing all of that, you're hurting these students, you're hurting administration, people are making it so that these families have to end up leaving the area because they no longer have a job anymore and they have to go find it elsewhere. I love this community. I moved up here 10 years ago. All 4 of my kids now come here. My husband graduated from here. I plan to stay here and build a business with our family that we have. But it's something that we have to think about in the long run. You know, what are these kids gonna have to lose out on in the future? If things don't change and we don't see how a small, close-knit community like this ends up losing out on.
Oh, this is a hard act to follow, all of you. My name is Terry Herr. I'm a school board member of Canaan. I recently, Canaan was highlighted on WCAX TV. And for, you know, they go to different towns.
We were here this morning.
You're gonna be back on the news.
Okay, great. Okay.
For good reason.
The essence of the whole thing, what it boiled down to was family. That the community is a family unit. And so with that, as all families, you've got some, you know, bad days and good days. And, but really when it comes down to the end of the day, we're all united together. And my concern, I said it earlier to you before this started, we know more about New Hampshire than we do Vermont because we're so geographically isolated. And my concern, I mean, both my children went to school here as I did. And what happens, I mean, I can't even conceive having kids being bused an hour away twice a day. They would lose everything that they have here, a sense of community, a sense of school pride, town pride. I mean, all these things are investments that you want to have so that they come back to keep your whole town alive and thriving. And you just, if there's going to be this disconnect, well, that's going to be gone.
I'm Martha Vanderwalk. I'm on the Canaan School Board and the ENSU School Board. I was also with Miles on the working group with North Country and Orleans Central to talk about, you know, redistricting and cooperating and all that stuff. I've been, you know, active with the redistricting task force. My children all went to school here. I have all sons. So Renee was the sister to one of my sons. And he still comes to see her every time he comes home. He just retired from being the STEM director for the Department of Education in Massachusetts. So that's a Canaan graduate. Another one of my sons was a principal. He's not back to teaching in Addison Central. My third son is an architect. So you can go to Canaan and do important things in the world. And you can stay here and build the community here. I moved to Canaan originally almost 50 years ago because I was married to a Vermonter. And when I say Vermonter, I mean Vermonter. It's like way, way, way back. But I was from New Hampshire. And here was where you could be in both states at once. And he even once said, "It's so nice over there. I could live there." Yeah, a mile away, you throw a rock to him. But what I wanted to say today is, so I taught college for most of my career, but I've also been a classroom teacher. And I retired as a classroom teacher. And my next to last year of teaching was during COVID. But we were sharing resources with the schools across the river. And my upper level math classes, I was teaching in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. But my upper level math classes had Canaan students in them. And so being able to share those resources, I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, as as much as we love our friends at North Country and Orleans Central, it's just too far away. And the latest map that had us merging with them somehow, not merging schools, but merging districts, eventually we would get merged because we would have no voice. You know, we would be, what, 170 students to their almost 4,000. Maybe we would get one seat on a combined school group. You know, it doesn't make sense for us. Our community is here. You know, our store is over there. Our doctors are over there. Our community is here. So being able to share resources with the New Hampshire schools, whether we form a district or not, is really important. We already share resources. We have shared more in the past and could certainly share more in the future. And that's what makes sense for us. The other thing I want to say is, like I said, I taught during COVID. It's been crazy the last 5 years in school. It wasn't just 1 year of COVID. It was, we only shut down for one spring term. The next 2 years, you know, half the class would be sick, you know. So the teachers were trying to teach remotely and in class at the same time. It was crazy. The kids who started school 5 years ago are now in middle school. They are looking to where they're going to high school and what high school is going to be like. They have known nothing but chaos. And to give them more chaos is just crazy. You know, the problem is the tax structure in the state of Vermont. The problem is taxes. We have, because of the area of our district, our assessed value per child is very high because there's so much land and so few people. But property values individually are very low. You know, I can't sell my house for $400,000. You know, it's just, you just can't. It's more like $150,000. And, you know, so this is a poor community, even though, you know, on paper, we look rich.
Yep.
And so we keep getting hit. We keep getting hit over and over. We have had to cut, you know, we had 4 vibrant CTE programs. We're down to 2.5. And, you know, Todd said to me not too long ago, I'm going to lose fire. You know, what we need in CTE is construction and health services. And those are the programs we cut. It's just, it's crazy. Our trades program, we own a house in Goldbrook, New Hampshire that our kids have been working at for years. But there's no time now and there's no money. And the other craziness, the other chaos is federal funding. We don't know what money we're going to get. We don't know if we're going to get anything at all. So while there's chaos at the federal level, there's chaos at the state level, there's chaos everywhere. Don't add more. Just go with the task force's recommendation of shared services. We're happy to share services with North Country. We're happy to share services with SAU 7. And the more we're allowed to do that, and, you know, there's no way to keep the school open if we keep getting nailed with health insurance and with everything else. I don't know why the state of Vermont doesn't self-insure. Between state employees, all the teachers, all the municipal employees, there should be enough people to self-insure. Stop giving all our money to Blue Cross Blue Shield at 15% increases every year.
We, I think, need to be
overtime.
In the gym.
The room in the gym.
Oh, I was like, what? Nobody wants to talk.
Yeah, they're all.
Are people out there?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
There are.
they've been flowing in pretty steady.
Okay. So by the way, you can also take the
Oh,
mic there as well
where?
and
I think
add in whatever
Yeah.
needs to